government giving you more money to run, the funds that have been recovered should be handed to some of these companies to function. Why should that be the case? Because government has invested so much in these companies, even after they've been privatized, we understand. And then they've got tariff from consumers that they deal with on a regular basis. Why should they have more money?
You see, why I'm making that suggestion is the dams have not been built yet. And in hydro, once there is no dam, then you've not begun. And dam has multiple purposes. We are talking of flooding coming down to Niger Delta very soon. If you have a dam, Mambila is dammed, Zungeru is dammed, Kaduna River is dammed, then flooding would be minimized. And then you also have irrigation. You also have fishery. You also have, it has a lot of components that will be beneficial to the community. But
are you also looking at the negatives as well?
Negative of what?
Building large reservoirs that may never be filled up. What about when there's a drought? But the water level drops, and at that point in time, the generation has dropped as well. Are you also looking at all of that?
Okay. Luckily, most of the hydros, like Mambila, my own project, are well over 1,000 meters above sea level. And it's only God that will tell you rain will not come. But our simple geography shows that if you are of certain height, you are likely to have more rain. And there is a lot of rain in those plateaus. Now it comes down to, what do you call it, lowland power generation. Because at that time, all the rivers have come down. And that is where Zungeru comes in, Kainji comes in. And don't forget that River Niger doesn't start from Nigeria, it starts from Niger. Or right up there. So there's a collective, the rains that come outside Nigeria also come down for the power generation. So the issue of hydro really, believe me, I think that's where the federal government should focus on. And I'm asking for that money just for the purpose of constructing the dams. If you and I go to Zungeru now and see the dam going on, believe me, even if there's no light tomorrow, you still have the hope that something is being done.
What happens to all the facilities that are accessible through the banks?
You see, because of the long nature of hydro projects, you can't fund short assets, long-term assets with short-term funding. Otherwise, you tend to mismatch it. That is why the government has to come in so as to fund long-term assets. An asset that lasts for 100 years should be funded through loans not up to 25%, 24%, not even up to 10%. It should be in the region of 1.5, 2, 3, 4. And once it passes 5, then it becomes expensive.
But that system had always been in operation before they ever privatized the distribution companies. Why didn't they raise that while they went into the privatization?
Who?
The discos, before they took over the discos.
Well, you see, the discos were...
you come in a minute.
The discos were privatized for efficiency's sake, right? I mean, privatization is meant to bring in efficiency in any system. And I mean, let it be well managed. So, the purpose for which they were privatized was just to make sure that efficiency comes into the.
Is it working? Are they fulfilling that purpose?
You know, a lot of these privatizations were done on obsolete equipment. I have always said that, listen, if you understand the problem that distribution companies are going through, then some of us, I'm not into distribution, I'm not into transmission, I'm into generation, the least problematic aspect.
Okay.
Because there are no lines of failures. But in distribution, there are so many points of failures on with equipment that are dilapidated.
Okay, let's get Mark Westcott. Mark, go ahead.
But shouldn't you be worried about all of that? I mean, if you already identify that one area is more problematic than some other areas, if you're going to be generating, you should be worried about what happens down the chain, because you might not be able to get your, you know, what should accrue to you if the problems persist along the line. Would you?
You know, it's good that we've started. The worst scenario is not to even start. Okay? So it's good that some of them have been privatized. And with time, I believe efficiency will come. But one thing I know with Nigerians, including me, is that we are very bad managers of expectations.
How do you mean?
When we are expecting something, please let it be done right now. Tomorrow, today, oh, this, that. Believe me, if we have the patience and understand, and if we can manage our expectations well, then some of us may drink less of the high blood pressure medication. But we have this, you know, let it be done quick, let it be done quick. Let me give you an example. Our Minister of Power, Fashola, when the monies were there, this guy did excellent in Lagos State, and we all held him. He is now faced with a very difficult situation. Some call him Minister of Darkness or Mr. Darkness. But if he has the kind of money or the funding that he had in Lagos State, believe me, that man would have probably turn around this power sector.
You think
but there are no funds.
Okay, you think the challenge is primarily that of funds?
No, timing as well.
Funds and
what
timing.
has the basis at which he took over. There are certain fundamental problems that had started before he inherited them, or this government inherited them. So funding is not only the problems. There are dilapidated or infrastructural defects. I came to Lagos in 1977, and I have been living in Lagos since 1977. That time, Lagos stopped at, what do you call it, at Victoria Island stopped at Mobile. The next building was Chevron. Since then, those equipment, or rather the transmission line that were there in 1977 are the ones still being used today. And they go through all kinds of weather.
Do you think that, you know, that...
So they are... Nothing lives forever, even the turbines.
Sorry to interrupt you there.
Go ahead,
I was just wondering if you think that, you know, transmission could also be a problem for us. I mean, is the national grid a problem for us?
Well, my own suggestion is let us even start with generating sufficient power, and let us say we cannot transmit. Then that would be addressed. But for now, I know that we have a ring of 330 kVA almost around the whole country, from Ipetekpene down to Enugu, to Benue, to Plateau, Bauchi, Maiduguri, Kano, around. And
we'll take a further look at this.
Yes.
Pardon me to interject, but just give us a moment. We'll be back.